How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with another quick start episode. Previous episode we covered how to make glue in order to make storage blocks, glass in order to make atlases, as well as vital essence in order to make warp augments. We covered how to set up the storage blocks in the atlas, so if that sort of thing interests you, be sure to check out that episode. This episode I wanted to go over the different specs for my different characters, as I actually tried to talk about it last episode, but last episode I simply ran out of time. So come over to the skills, and basically, as I already said, this is going to be a gather, so I highly recommend focusing on power and dexterity at first. Power is going to allow you to hit harder and hopefully less hits to break blocks. Dexterity is going to make you swing faster, which is just going to speed up your gathering process, which is going to accelerate your gameplay in general. Once you hit about level 10 or so, you should have this Epic 2 area unlocked, which will give you the energy regeneration epic. This is pretty invaluable, as this will give you essentially, well, it's 900 extra energy per second. You already regenerate 100, so that is 1000 energy per tick. And basically, especially at this low level, as you use up all of your energy, that 1000, that's just going to fill it back up immediately. So basically you can just hold down the mouse button, and as soon as you regenerate some energy, you'll continue swinging, and you don't have to sit there and watch this fill up 100 points at a time. Very invaluable. Another thing that's going to be hugely invaluable is, I think it's around level 16, I can't quite get to this yet, but the Epic 3 that's after this environmental protection will have the damage epic, and that is going to multiply power's effect by 3. So if you have maximum power, that gives you a total of 90% extra damage. It is the single most extra damage you can get from anything in the game, is from having max power and the damage epic. Once you have max power, the damage epic, and dexterity, then you can start worrying about the different masteries of whether or not you want to specialize in maybe hammers to go mining, axes, or shovels. Pretty much I would recommend hammers, but we'll get to that later on. And certainly whenever you start considering leaving the planet, you might consider taking this kinetic armor under endurance. Just a few points, 3 to 4, will make a significant difference going to the level 3 worlds, and having 4 or 5 points in this will essentially make you immune to everything on that planet, bar things that do AoE damage. So kinetic armor protects you from single target attacks like wild stalks and spitter attacks, was impulse armor over here will protect you against AoE attacks like from hoppers or bombs that spitters rarely use, or the bombs that cuddle trunks will use. And then some additional notes on the resistances over here. The resistances, you can think of this more like a dodge chance. This is a chance to avoid all damage. Otherwise, if you don't resist the attack, you take the normal amount of damage. So this isn't going to reduce your damage by percentage, it simply gives you a % chance to avoid all damage. So that covers the gatherer pretty well. If you wanted to make a hunter, you would actually probably end up doing just about the exact same thing here, except you might not need the dexterity. You could put all these points in dexterity over to agility to allow them to move faster, and eventually once you have the skill points, you could invest into sling bows instead of investing into hammer mastery or any of the other tools. Another invaluable skill for early hunters would be the charging epic. This is going to allow you to hold down the button to charge up your attack, essentially doubling your damage. This is hugely invaluable, especially when you're using the lesser sling bows to be able to punch through the creature's armor, as some of the creatures on the level 3 worlds can have a fair bit of armor. And if you don't do enough damage to get past them, you literally cannot kill them. So this charging epic can be a huge boon to any aspiring hunter. Okay, so we jumped on to Testron 3, which is the crafter that we made, and got to our camp. As you can see, he is already level 5, and this is simply from crafting those atlases, the fresh vital essence, some glue, and a little bit of stone. So your crafter will level up and catch up pretty quickly as long as you do most of your crafting on your, well, crafter. So with those skill points, we can come over here, and pretty much we're going to want to focus on this crafting section right here. So right here we have the tools, weapons, and tech crafting, followed by decoration and machine crafting. So tools are naturally going to be your shovels, axes, and hammers. Weapons are going to be your sling bows and bombs. And then finally, tech crafting is going to cover spanners, chisels, and grapples. So pretty much all of these are pretty important. You're going to want some of them at some point. 1 point into these is going to allow you to craft copper and iron tools. 2 points into it will allow you to craft the alloy tools such as silver, gold, and titanium. And finally, if you want to craft the more advanced tools, you can scroll down and get the various crafting skills down below that aren't even available just yet. But it'll be quite some time before you're even ready to craft the alloy tools, so 1 point into each of these is perfectly fine for now. You'll also probably want to get at least 1 point into decoration crafting, mostly because that will allow you to craft a regular torch, which will be significantly better lighting for when you go cave diving for copper, iron, coal, and the like. Machine crafting will also unlock the more advanced machines such as iron furnaces, which are twice as fuel efficient as stone furnaces, as well as the more advanced crafting machines. Finally, the crafting skills down here are probably going to be less useful to you in the short run. The food crafting, I could see certainly having some uses if you want to try to make some better, well-fed foods. But the brew crafting, forge ingredient crafting, and augment crafting are fairly advanced, and it's going to be quite some time before you have the materials to actually utilize these skills. And one very important skill I'm apparently trying to forget to talk about is this volume crafting epic right here. This not only unlocks mass crafting, which will use your resources more efficiently, but it also allows you to queue up to 30 items or 30 crafts on one machine. So this is a very invaluable skill, and it's particularly potent when you combine mass crafting with crafting stone, as that will not only use your rock more efficiently, but each craft will give you more experience since you're crafting more items. So this is a must as soon as you can get it. As you can see, I can't quite get it because I do have to be level 6, but that is why I have 4 unspent skill points right here, is because I'm anticipating picking this up as quickly as possible. So hopping over to this workbench, you can immediately see that there are a lot more recipes here. We have all the copper, all the iron, and scrolling down here is the crafting machine. So as you can see, we now have access to the iron furnace as well as the mixer and refinery. So as you can see, the mixer is fairly easy to craft, whereas the refinery takes a new material, any precious alloy. So you can actually use both gold and silver to make this. However, it's not enough to just have the gold and silver. You first have to use a mixer to turn it into an alloy. You also need ancient tech components. Both of these resources you will have to leave your starting planet in order to gather. So here's your main motivation to moving to a harder world, or at least visiting a higher level world. Okay, well that was a quick crash course in how to spec for a gatherer, hunter, as well as a crafter. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for this one. This was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.